ever traveled to North Korea, you will be filled with mixed emotions, feeling as if you've traveled back 50 years in time. Buildings, streets, and advertisement signs remain unchanged since the early communist era. You will see many statues of the founding father and his son, Kim Jong-un, in addition to historical landmarks spread throughout the city. However, what will catch your attention most is this giant glass pyramid building rising above Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, piercing the sky at a height exceeding 1,000 feet. There are no sounds or life inside, just a frightening silence surrounding the place, as if it were a house from a horror movie scene. This building is the Ryugyong Hotel, also known as the Hotel of Doom, or the Ghost Hotel. But the truth is, it's not just an abandoned building. It has been an enigma shrouded in mystery for decades. Why was it built? Why hasn't it opened until now, and what does this massive pyramid hide inside? In 1945, Korea was a Japanese colony, but after Japan's defeat in World War II and its surrender declaration, Korea was divided like a cake among the victorious powers. The southern section was under American control, while the northern part, led by Kim Il-sung, was under Soviet influence. Here the situation evolved, and the southern part turned into a democratic capitalist state open to the world, known as South Korea. Meanwhile, the northern part became a communist, totalitarian state, isolated and closed off from the world, known as North Korea. In 1950, a war broke out between the Koreas, lasting 3 years and claiming thousands of lives from both sides. Since then, and to this day, the region has remained as if on a volcano that could erupt at any moment. As a result, two sibling regimes emerged, yet they are enemies and loathe each other. Each side wants to dominate and advance over the other, even in non-warfare fields such as media, art, or economy. In the 1980s, South Korea, with American assistance, began to shine on the global stage, gaining fame in the construction and building sector. In 1986, a South Korean company built a hotel in Singapore, which at the time was the tallest hotel in the world. Then, in 1988, South Korea hosted the Olympics, a significant event that brought it prestige and immense fame. This greatly disturbed the North Korean leader, Kim Il-sung. How could the South achieve such superiority? Here, the northern regime decided to respond strongly, and the response was the construction of the extraordinary Ryugyong Hotel, to surpass its southern counterpart and become a symbol of northern supremacy. The idea of building the Ryugyong Hotel was, for Kim Il-sung, the North Korean leader, a dream that must be achieved at any cost, no matter how many lives it might take. At that time, North Korea was even more isolated, and its people lived as if they were on another planet, unaware of what was happening in the world, and those living outside it did not know what was happening inside. Western American propaganda planted the idea in people's minds that North Korea was a state whose people lived in the Stone Age, experiencing backwardness, poverty, and oppression, and knew nothing about the technological advancements enjoyed by the rest of the world's peoples. To confront this Western propaganda, Kim Il-sung wanted to prove to the world that the state was capable of creating something extraordinary, something amazing that would be talked about by the people of the world, and would beautify North Korea's image in their eyes, just like the most famous building in the world at that time, which was the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Despite not being the tallest and merely a pile of iron intertwined, it was the most famous and influential in the hearts of the world's inhabitants. Kim Il-sung decided to create something more impressive and demonstrate the level of progress and development they had reached. The construction of a hotel piercing the sky, visible from hundreds of kilometers away, like a mountain or a rocket ready to launch into the sky. This building was decided to be 330 meters tall, containing 3,000 rooms spread over 105 floors, with a vast area of 360,000 square meters. The envisioned goals for this hotel were even wilder, as they decided to build a gaming hall, nightclubs, and giant restaurants with a 360-degree view. Just imagining this idea in the 1980s was an engineering marvel, a futuristic project for engineers, scientists, and technicians. This is what they truly wanted, to achieve the impossible. In 1987, construction began. The plan was very ambitious. A massive pyramid with 3 wings tilted at a 75-degree angle, converging at a conical peak. Each floor was built with enthusiasm and continuous work, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with the goal of opening the hotel in just 2 years, in 1989. In that year, North Korea was to host the World Festival of Youth and Students, and indeed, more than 10,000 people from 177 countries visited the capital. The regime spent over $4 billion beautifying the capital, Pyongyang, building new roads, parks, stadiums, and all the required facilities. The goal was to open the hotel on this specific occasion. Unfortunately, the ambitions were greater than reality. After the specified deadline, they realized that opening the hotel that year was impossible, so the opening was postponed to 1992. But a year earlier, in 1991, something unexpected happened. The collapse of the Soviet Union, the biggest supporter of North Korea. Without Soviet assistance, whether technical, engineering, or financial, everything stopped. Although the hotel reached a height of 330 meters, it was merely an empty shell with no windows or interior walls, only gray concrete from the outside and inside, like an abandoned cave. Suddenly, the pace of work on the hotel began to decrease gradually until all construction activities stopped unexpectedly in 1993. By that time, the project had cost about $750 million. Imagine an isolated country whose people suffer from poverty, famine, and misery, while at the same time walking the streets seeing a giant black building reaching the clouds. Due to the level of isolation and seclusion imposed by the regime on the North Korean people, some began to feel awe and fear from merely seeing this building. From here, people started calling it the Building of Death. The failure was significant, so the regime tried to hide it by all possible means, even from official photos of the Pyongyang capital, editing them with photo editing programs to conceal this hotel before presenting them in the media or on official websites. Why? Because this massive pyramid simply became a symbol of regression instead of progress, and a symbol of weakness instead of strength. Kim Il-sung, who started the project, died in 1994 and never saw its final image. The halt in construction continued for 15 years until hope was renewed in 2008, during the era of his son, Kim Jong-il, where a deal was made with an Egyptian company called Orascom. The agreement stipulated that the company would install the windows and the entire external glass facade of the hotel. Indeed, the deal was completed, and this pyramid was fully covered, transforming it into the shape you see now. The primary goal of the North Korean regime was to reduce the ugliness of this building and its negative impact on the state's image in an attempt to erase the significant negative fame it caused. Indeed, the plan succeeded, but this was from the outside. As for the inside, nothing changed. As the saying goes, don't judge a book by its cover. The hotel remained from the inside like a ghost town, with no lighting or electricity, everything in black. If someone entered the hotel without a map, they might get lost and not find the exit for several days. Worse, the hotel's concrete structure began showing several technical and engineering problems, such as the poor quality of the used concrete and the proportion of columns and steel used in the structure, affected by natural elements like rain, wind, and heat over the years. Experts and engineers say that if this is not quickly addressed, it may cause the hotel's collapse over people, causing thousands of casualties and a global disaster and scandal. The situation remained this way until the death of Kim Jong-il in 2011 and the assumption of power by his son, Kim Jong-un, who signed a deal with the German luxury group Kempinski. Under this deal, a large part of this pyramid's rooms would be turned into international hotel rooms, making it possible to finally open the hotel. But after only 2 years, Kempinski withdrew from the project due to political tensions between North Korea and the West. Once again, the hotel remained empty, inhabited only by ghosts, and no one was allowed to enter it as if it were a prohibited military zone, rightfully earning the building the title of the Hotel of Doom. Strangely, since 2018, the North Korean regime decided to use the hotel in a new way, far removed from hospitality or anything related to tourism or accommodation. They installed thousands of LED lights on the hotel's facade, turning it into a giant display screen. The idea was to use those screens to display video clips narrating North Korea's history, while at the top, they placed a giant screen illuminating the world of North Korea. This continues to this day. From afar, the hotel appears cheerful and beautiful, but as you get closer, you can clearly see the old and tarry,